Now to create a corner, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. One technique that I've come up with is to, again, do the extra single stitch at the very top or at the very end, and we're going to do a half crochet. So the half crochet is when we put it into the loop, and we have essentially two loops over the crochet hook, the half crochet is pulling in the yarn through both right away without having to create the single crochet. So again, we're going to go and pull this in through both, and we'll go through that again slowly. So we're going to grab this and then pull it in through both, and what we've essentially done is we've created this next stitch here. So it looks like a chain stitch, but it's created on the angle and actually creates what's called a corner in our crochet. So when we do this, and I go across this back side, again with the half crochet, I'm going to grab it and pull it in through both. Grab it and pull it in through both. We only need to do this for one row or one column. And we're going to get to the very end. And just like we've done with every other portion, when we get to the very end, we're going to hit number 9, and we're going to do a single chain stitch to make it number 10. And then now we see that we have two sides. So we have the original crochet on this side, and we have another half crochet chain stitch on that side. And this is where we need to take a look at that top portion here and fit it through. So if you can take a look here, I'm going to fit it through the two stitches right there. So if we see that chain, we can see that chain stitch here. I'm going to go under that chain stitch in a sense, this half crochet. It kind of looks like a chain stitch, but it's really crocheted into the back side. And what we do now is we do the standard single crochet. So again, we're going to grab it, go through one loop, stick it out again, grab it again, twist, and pull it through both. And now we go to the second stitch. Now the second stitch, again, it looks like a chain stitch here. So we're going to pull the hook through that chain stitch. It's sitting right there at the corner here, and essentially do another single crochet. We do that all the way across to the end, turn it around, and then do the single crochets. And what you'll start to notice is this corner actually start to develop. So we'll speed up the video at this point just so that you can see it and see what the turn looks like, and one corner or two sides of a cube would look like. Again, don't be afraid to unravel things and start again if you need to. Sometimes it's hard to see these stitches. The great thing about crochet is that it's very forgiving, or can be very forgiving. And it's about a matter of finding where that hole, the stitch is, and pulling the yarn through. Now we're at number 10 here. The corner piece is a little bit hard to see sometimes, but if you do manipulate it, you can see where the V is and start to pull it in. And if you end up just using one of the stitches instead of both, that's fine as well. It just adds to the strength when you go through both of these, both of the yarns for that stitch. And again, we're at number 9 here. And then we do a single chain at the end and turn it around. And then this is where it gets a little bit easier because you have bigger holes here, and we're on the inside of that corner piece. So again, when we get to the very end, I will flip this around and you will see the corner of these two squares start to develop. So again, we finished the first square, which is a 10 by 10, and we're adding to that first square another 10 by 10. So we're going to get to number 9 and do a single stitch. And if we flip it around, you'll see this single stitch, it looks like a chain stitch that indicates the corner of your crochet cube. Okay, so again, what we'll do is I'll fast forward this and we'll get to a 10 by 10 and we'll see what that looks like. As I mentioned earlier, since we're doing an even number for the square, we're going to end the square portion of this crochet on the same side as the tail. And we'll see, it's a great indicator of identifying whether or not you've completed the square. We can compare and see if we're close. We notice that, oh, we just need one more or two more rows going this way and that way, and we're back to where the tail is, and we'll have our two sides of a cube. So we're doing our last bit. Again, we're doing that single chain at the end, turn it around, and we're going to go through this hole here, which is, it looks like it's a second stitch in. So the second stitch in, we're going to grab it and then make that a little bit tighter, and then do our single crochet, pull it in once, and then pull it in both. So create, again, go through that single chain here. We're going to pull it in over one and then pull it in over two, and continue that all the way to the end. And we will now notice that we have, this is our 9th stitch, and we're going to go through 10 for a single stitch here, and we will have a rectangle that is made of 2 squares. We'll see that this is one square, and we can fold this in to see that that is another square, and you can identify the middle of the square by this, what looks like a single stitch, and if you actually look at it from an angle, it creates a nice corner for your cube. All we need to do now is create 2 more sets of these, or again, another option is to create another corner here and then make the other 10 come out, and we have 1/2 of the cube, and then we create another set of those and then stitch them together.